Did you know that originally the emotional journey in Riley's mind wasn't supposed to feature joy and sadness? That's right, folks. Pixar's original idea was to have fear as one of the protagonists alongside joy. The story would have been similar to what we saw in Inside Out, but with the significant difference that, instead of sadness, the Lilac character would be joining the journey back to Riley's control center. As the story developed, Pete Docter realized fear wasn't the character to impart lessons to joy. Hence, sadness was chosen to undergo the growth journey with joy, resulting in the creation of this beloved historic film cherished by millions worldwide. This is one of the 12 secrets about Inside Out that almost no one knows, and we've got more to share. The film's name. Ever wondered what Inside Out would be called if it weren't Inside Out? But instead, the untitled Pixar movie that takes you inside the mind? Believe it or not, that was the film's name for a considerable time. The decision to finalize the title came later, even though everyone knew the story would unfold inside the mind of a teenage girl. Up Memories. This is actually a secret mixed with curiosity, with a touch of theory. At certain moments in the movie, sadness and joy are in the place where Riley's memory orbs are stored. Thinking about it, we can say that everything there is something Riley saw at some point, otherwise it wouldn't be a memory, right? Now that we agree on that, did you know that among Riley's memories, there are scenes from Up that appear, one of them even being Carl and Ellie's wedding? This suggests that there are two possibilities. Either Riley at some point in the real world actually saw Carl and Ellie live, or in Riley's universe, the movie Up exists and she watched it at some point in her life. In other words, even if Riley saw that, it doesn't necessarily mean it's real. After all, it could also be a scene from a movie she might have watched. But if it really is a real memory, it would mean that Riley lived with the Up couple and even attended their wedding. Surely that would be crazy, but sensational. Toy Story Daycare Memory. Another memory found in Riley's mind that also had fans speculating about the connection between Pixar movies is the memory where we see the daycare playground from Toy Story 3. If you look closely, you'll notice it's the same place. So, just like we mentioned with Up, the same idea applies here too. Either Riley was at the same playground shown in Toy Story 3, or this is another movie that exists in Riley's world, and she watched it, hence the memory. But you know what makes many people skeptical about this second possibility? The striking resemblance between Andy's mom and Riley, who look very similar, raising suspicion that they might have some blood relation, like aunt and niece, or even be the same person, meaning Riley would be Andy's mom from Toy Story. If that's true, my mind will simply explode. But none of this is proven. They're just theories, even though they make a lot of sense. Sadness as a male character. Yeah, folks, originally the character of sadness was intended to be male, just like anger and fear. According to Pixar's creative team, not just hundreds but thousands of different design sketches were created, specifically for sadness. The final conception of the character ended up being completely different from the initial one created for him. Sadness would have been quite large compared to the other emotions and would have had a more square and less chubby shape, as we can see in this image from a panel promoted by Pixar during the film's production. And another detail, she wouldn't have had legs either. The only thing everyone was certain the character had to have, regardless of gender or shape, was the high-neck white sweater. Why? We have no idea, but it was something Pete Docter had insisted on being part of the character. Why sadness is so important for the movie? This was one of the biggest questions Pixar received right after the first people watched the film and loved it. According to Pete Docter, the decision to make sadness one of the protagonists was mainly because, in his words, there's no way to avoid sadness in life. The idea was to make the audience identify with Riley and her constant changes in thoughts and mood, caused by her emotions. That's why joy was necessary. But having only her would make the film somewhat limited and even dishonest, as everyone realizes over time that happiness is not constant. It alternates with other types of feelings, with sadness being one of the main ones alongside joy in the real world. For this reason, it was portrayed in the film, and, of course, it worked, as the film was a huge success. If you enjoyed Inside Out and are counting down the days, just like us, to watch Inside Out 2, comment #secret down below in reference to the film secrets we're sharing with you now. Disgust for broccoli. Each of the emotions in Inside Out was inspired by something that really exists in the real world. Joy was inspired by a star, sadness by a tear, fear is a nerve, and anger by a brick. The only character inspired by food was disgust, as she was designed with broccoli in mind, which is why she is green. And that's precisely why Riley herself has a complete aversion to broccoli as a baby. This aversion is reinforced when she and her mother go out to buy pizza and can only find broccoli pizza. The interesting part is that the film's creator, Pete Docter stated that he actually loves broccoli, but as we all know, Riley was inspired by his daughter, so she probably doesn't like broccoli at all. Real pizza. By the way, the pizzeria, the Yeast of Eden, that Riley and her mother go to actually exists in real life and is very close to the Pixar headquarters, which is indeed in San Francisco. And the funniest part is that the pizzeria has a daily specialized flavor, and there really is a day dedicated to broccoli pizza. I'm sure Pete Docter must always grab a slice on that day. Emotions change over time. If there's one thing Inside Out makes clear, it's that we can all change our minds about how we see the world. This is evident when we see that inside Riley's dad's head, the dominant emotion is not joy, but anger, while in her mom's head, the one in charge is her version of sadness. This shows that even if joy was the dominant emotion in their childhood and adolescence, as life goes on and they face difficulties, the more constant emotions probably become the dominant ones in their minds, changing the order of feelings a bit for each person. This makes total sense. As we age, adolescence is left behind, and it's normal to take on new responsibilities and face even greater challenges. And in those moments, joy will still be there, but won't be the primary emotion in many more moments. Creation of Bing Bong. Anyone who watched Inside Out will always remember Bing Bong and his sacrifice so that Joy could reach her destination. But what few people know is that the creator of the character was not one of Pixar's brilliant designers and illustrators, but a 7-year-old child. The little girl in question was the daughter of Kim White, the film's director of photography and lighting. Pixar really wanted the character to come from a child's mind. The same drawing made by the little 7-year-old girl was used in the film, as if Riley had drawn it on the wall of her house. Now that's being original. Pixar deserves a round of applause for this idea. Which leads us to another secret, Bing Bong's first appearance. Those who weren't paying attention probably thought they first saw Bing Bong when joy and sadness got lost in the maze of long-term memories. But remember the scene we mentioned earlier of Riley drawing Bing Bong? Well, it happens way before that encounter, and Riley even says the name of her imaginary friend. Listen. Because there's background music in the scene, many people didn't hear little Riley say the character's name, which would be so crucial in the film. But he was certainly there, long before most people realized. Bing Bong and Monsters, Inc. This secret is actually a theory that is closely related to the Pixar theory, which suggests that all Pixar films take place in the same universe. But at least this part is somewhat comforting. Pay attention, it suggests that Bing Bong was originally from the monster dimension, just like Mike and Sully, and that he went to scare Riley when she was a child and ended up growing fond of her, always coming back to play with her and have fun together. This means that when he disappears in Riley's mind, he would actually be returning to his monster dimension once again and could never come back to the human world. It would be sad, but surely better than disappearing forever. Do you think this theory makes sense? Comment below to let us know your opinion. Well, those were the 12 secrets we brought to you today from Disney Pixar's Inside Out. And to make sure you don't miss more cool content, we've selected these 2 videos for you to watch and enjoy. Trust me, both are really good.